Welcome to my channel. Today, I actually wanted to talk about the Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. I wanted to review it because it wasn't as good as I kind of thought it was going to be. Like, I sort of expected better. I love true crime, things like that, paranormal, killers, all that sort of stuff. And like, Netflix has really good documentaries usually. So when I watched this, I was just like, no. No, it didn't really, what's the word, like, step up to the mark. More so, in my personal opinion, the reason it didn't sit right with me was, one, it was too long for what it was about. In hindsight, you could find the case on YouTube and you'd probably find a better story about it, really. Like, it just didn't do it justice at all, in my opinion. I mean, it sounds bad saying it didn't do a case justice. I mean, the case was crazy and like really tragic. Elisa Lam, she just wasn't portrayed right in this documentary. So it was 4 episodes. I think each of them were about an hour long, something like that. And it's just wrong. Like, all of it's just wrong. I mean, it's mainly based on like YouTube. There's some YouTubers that are on it and they're like conspiracy theories and what they thought was the reason she'd gone missing. And like, as soon as they released like the footage of Elisa Lam in the elevator, like the really famous footage that went viral like 2013, all the people that went crazy online talking about, you know, how it was and how they thought what had happened, like, to her, all the theories they had, you know, she could see someone, there was a ghost, you know, why isn't the elevator doors closing, and all that sort of stuff. So they really went hard, basing it on online sleuths, web sleuths, you know what I mean? And there was just clips in it that really weren't right, in my personal opinion. Like, this is the opinion I got from it. And like, I've looked on Twitter at other people's opinions and there was a lot of people who were annoyed because it was dragged out from nothing, really. And if that was my daughter and I'd seen this documentary, I'd have felt let down. Really would have felt let down, because they made her sort of look like she was crazy as well. There was the hotel manager on there that was doing she did a few little segments of interviews. The way she runs the hotel, for a start, we need to address this. Because, look, right, if you think about it, that hotel is in like quite a rundown part of LA. I think it was called Skid Row, they mentioned, and there was a lot of homeless people at Skid Row. So it had very little reputation, but online it didn't come across that way. They made it sound better than what it was, whereas really they had a lot of deaths there. They had overdoses, prostitutes. This is what they said. All the time. So it didn't cost a lot. Like, it was like $14 a night, if that. And you didn't get a lot for that. But the way the hotel manager was talking was, the hotel really was great. Like, I just cannot put into words how it made me feel. All of it. I mean, look, for anyone who's obviously knows what happened to Elisa Lam and how she died, and they've seen the elevator footage, if you didn't know that she actually had bipolar disorder, watching the footage you would think, oh, it's paranormal, or there's, you know, there's some form of different explanation. No, there isn't. There's none of it makes sense in this documentary as to why it took them 4 episodes to say it was because she was bipolar. She had an episode which caused her to hallucinate and see something that wasn't there, which scared her, to which she then hid inside the water tank. And that's the only reason that she died. No one killed her. No one put her there. There was no ghost that, you know, was standing outside the elevator, and that's why it wouldn't shut. The reason it wouldn't shut was because when she'd pressed the buttons all the way down, she pressed a button which kept the doors open. That's why they didn't shut. And obviously when she left the elevator, the doors closed because she'd gone and the time had passed on the button. So the elevator just continued working as normal. Now, obviously back in 2013 when the case was really big, I understand the web sleuths. I get it, because the footage was creepy, scary, unexplainable at the time until you knew that she was bipolar. Once you found that out, then it's not, you know, unexplainable. I mean, I know bipolar's hard to understand. I can't fully understand it because I don't have it. But from the research I've done, it's horrible. Imagine how you would feel being her, you know, in that situation. I'm not sure whether she'd stopped taking her meds. I think they suspect that she had, because that's why she had the episode. But, yeah, her family said that she'd had episodes like that before, you know, where she'd hide under a bed or in a closet because she had to get away from whatever she thought was there. So obviously with the elevator footage, she was seeing something that wasn't there. We couldn't see anything, but she could, if that makes sense. It's not her fault. It was her disorder. And I think the trouble with some documentaries, especially this one, mental health is so important to talk about. And I feel like they didn't address that hardly. I mean, in the last episode they mentioned it, but they still went through all of these conspiracy theories and also mentioned Richard Ramirez staying at the hotel. Now, The Night Stalker is already on Netflix, and I ain't lying to ya, that is a good series. You should watch that. It's about Richard Ramirez, and literally he's one of the sickest people I've ever met. I've never met him. Sickest people I've ever heard of. I've never met him. They brought him into it. It just felt like they were trying to make more time in the documentary. None of it sits right with me. They mentioned Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterweger, I think you say it. I don't know how to properly say it. Unterweger, something like that. 2 serial killers that had stayed at the hotel years and years before Elisa Lam even stayed there, because they was trying to build this like tension and reputation against the Cecil Hotel. It already has a reputation. It doesn't need anyone to feel like, you know, we need to build on this. This should have been about the vanishing of Elisa Lam, not, oh, let's bring Richard Ramirez into it. Oh, let's bring another serial killer into it. Oh, let's mention like Skid Row and how, you know, that has anything to do with it. Now, when I saw that part of it, oh my god, it's awful. There's so many homeless people and what they must have to deal with every single day. Horrible. But again, had nothing to do with the vanishing of Elisa Lam. Nothing. So it's hard because, like I said, I love documentaries. I love true crime, you know, about serial killers and everything. But don't bring that into a case which is literally to do with a mental health disorder that caused her death. But instead, you bring up web sleuths and, you know, all these conspiracy theories that they were so dead set on being right. They were. Nothing could have made it so that they were wrong. You are wrong. You know, you are. What do you expect? I don't understand. I mean, there was so much to it as well. There was like another one. I think he was called what they called a web sleuth. That's what they'd use as the tag. And they introduced this one guy. I can't remember his name now, but he was really like acting as if he knew Elisa Lam personally, and he was saying like how much it upset him when he found out about her death, and he had this whole Facebook group of people who wanted to find her and how sad they was when they found out she died. Yeah, everyone was really devastated when they found out she died, because it's the way she died as well. Like, that is so sad. Her last moments, if you think about it, were she was climbing, I think it was climbing a ladder to the top of the roof, getting into a water tank to hide away from something that wasn't even there. She took off all her clothes because obviously she's trying not to drown, because there's no way to like get out of that tank. There's no ladder to climb up. Like, once she got in, that was it. And it's so sad. Like, it's such a tragic accident. Would you call it an accident? I mean, there's ways. Okay, can you say that there is ways that it could have been prevented? One of the ways, really, I think, the water tanks didn't have a lock. It was like a heavy lid that you could just pull on and off. And one of the reasons that people ran with the she didn't die, she was murdered theory was because there was a confusion. So the maintenance man was the one who found her, and he had said, when I found her, the latch was open, the lid was off, it was open. Whereas one of the police officers had stated that it was closed. So because they said that, that was ran with, and it ended up they did not want to believe that she had died, like accidental, really. I mean, that's what you'd have to call it. It was an accident, but it was tragic, it was horrible. And yeah, you don't want to believe that somebody got in a tank on their own, but she was just trying to hide from whatever she could see. And it's really, really sad. But I thought that this documentary would have been based on like her disorder and maybe what she was going through at the time of her death, how she was feeling, more about like bipolar itself. And when you do have an episode of hallucinations and things like that, I thought they would have brought that more into it, but instead they made 4 episodes based on conspiracy theories. And oh, there's a serial killer who stayed at my hotel. What? No, it's wrong. It's wrong. There was another thing as well, which was really, really bad. So there was this guy, anyway. He'd stayed at the hotel a year before. So he wasn't in the hotel with her at the time. It was a year before, right? Well, because he did like this morbid, like rock stuff, they ran with it. The web sleuths ran with it, and they bullied him and ruined his life. And then when it came out that she died and it was just a tragic accident, did they apologise to him? No. He literally was so distraught, he stopped making music because he couldn't do it anymore. Because that's what they'd done to him. They'd ruined his entire life. And that's how down the rabbit hole they had gone on this case. They literally went so far down the rabbit hole that they blame some random guy who had stayed at the hotel a year before. He wasn't even in the country at the time she died. What the fuck is wrong with you? If any of you actually did that, and you know that you did it, apologise to that man. Not for your sake, for his sake, and Elisa Lam's sake. Because my God, you're disgusting. You bullied a man to the point, well, I'm pretty sure that he said he tried to take his own life because he'd either tried to take his own life or was at that point where he wanted to, because people bullied him to the point of no return. Every time he uploaded something, there'd be comment after comment. You killed her, didn't you? Dude, hello. I wasn't even in the country at the time, mate. What the fuck? So, all in all, really, in my opinion, on this documentary, I've watched loads upon, oh my God, loads of documentaries, and this one really stood out to me in the sense of it just wasn't good. It was filmed well, you know, camera work and that, yeah, but you didn't address the real issues and the real reason she actually died. I mean, yeah, they did talk about it in the 4th episode, the last one, but you spent another 3 episodes getting to that. We didn't need to hear about Richard Ramirez staying at the hotel, because what's that got to do with anything? Wasn't that like the 1970s as well, the 1980s? Like, no. No, it's got nothing to do with this case. Nothing to do with Elisa Lam. But, yeah. If you guys, look, if you want to watch it, I don't blame you, because when you see a video like this, it makes you want to watch it, just so you have your own opinion. And if your opinion is different, that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. But to me, it just didn't feel right. It felt based on theories that wasn't real. It felt based on just, okay, it felt like a moneymaker. I'm gonna be honest. It didn't explain mental health in the way it should have done, because that's the sole reason that she died, was because of her mental health. And yeah, that's all I'll say based on this documentary and my thoughts about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant that I like to go on from time to time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.